All right, everyone. Hello, welcome along to BVI Pilots podcast. It has been a while. Reason being, there's just not been a lot going on, and we did specify in the last one that me and Johnny had some personal stuff coming up. I had a new computer, and also, we had a lot on with college and things and work. So it's been busy.
Yeah, definitely, man. We it's been a minute, but like you said, we between college and of course you got your new computer, and all them things. Just we try to get here when we can, guys, and sometimes life comes first, and we have to take care of other things. But here we are.
So in terms of actual news, any development updates, there's not been a massive amount. I will just get the thing out of the way that I know people will ask about TFM. There has been an update with regards to the spoilers, which have been added, a nice little nifty feature. There's videos been done on how to use those. In terms of other than that, we have no news. So I believe we are on Alpha 9. There's also been a very small update with a command added to to close a TFM completely, to close it out. So I believe we're on Alpha 9 right now. But in terms of the .NET, yada yada yada, everything else has been spoken of. We don't know.
Yeah, it's just we're bringing you guys what we know, and like
Just the
you just said,
facts.
Declan. You give them the facts, and there's been a few of those updates, and that's nice. But other than that, yeah, that's all we got to give you right now as far as information. Definitely download the new version because uh, listen, I'm going to clear something up with people. And I've got a friend that he flies every day. He's done it his whole life. Uh, Air brakes is a big factor in flying. Okay, not just you put it on and it doesn't matter where you put it. That I can't remember who said that didn't matter, but I'm telling you that it does. It does matter, especially depending on what you're flying. If you're flying a prop plane to a jet. Jets use it differently, prop planes use it differently. But there's percentages, and it matters. It matters big time. So, what about you, Declan? Have you used, I'm sure since that new feature, I bet you've used it.
Yeah, it's
I
been
almost
very
bet you.
helpful. Yeah. You're going to find on descent, your speed's going to go up, especially if you're descending the high descent rate. That's just obviously normal, but the speed brakes, hitting slash would put them out full, and any blind pilot who uses tramp will know it will throttle up and then down, and it's just an absolute massive mess up. And the reason was that we had to put 100% spoilers out, and so I'd requested the feature to be added that we have an adjustable spoiler, so you can just put 20% out or maybe 10%, whatever you need. And
That was a great idea, man.
yeah.
Great idea. Well, like you said, if you put them out, it's going to, when you put them out, it goes all the way out. And sometimes that's too much and it brings
Hmm.
you too slow. So now you can kind of adjust a little more. So now you have your flaps to work with and the air brakes. But people don't say that you don't use air brakes when flying because maybe you don't, but I don't
Oh
know how you're
yeah, that's
having.
right. Yeah, we've had to. I don't use air brakes. Listen, I don't know what you're on. You don't have to use them. I mean, maybe you're not using them, but some planes need them, and they're a real-world IRL feature. There's no shame in using the speed brake. No shame at all. They're on
You
the
guys
plane for
know,
a reason.
yeah, if you watch a video like with a say a Cessna or something, you can actually hear them with their speed brake. It'll make like a clicking noise. It'd be like, like you can hear them pulling the speed brake to a certain point as they're landing.
Certainly on
So
jets. Yeah.
it's definitely important. That's the fact.
I do believe I should, in terms of speaking of updates, that Ideal Flight has been updated. I don't personally recommend Ideal Flight. We've talked about the facts on the podcast before with what Ideal Flight can do. Personally, I think a lot of the things that Ideal Flight can do, we can do ourselves manually. But it has added
Yeah,
in the latest update an auto throttle feature, which is interesting. I haven't tried it, but I've heard from Josh that it's very good. You all know Josh, yeah, he says it's very good. Quite when we'd use it, I'm not sure because most of the planes have an auto throttle, and if they don't, then they don't have one for a reason because they wouldn't have one in real life. Like the little props, they wouldn't have one. But
yeah, you wouldn't want it.
it's certainly interesting, and I know there's a lot of talk about the Ideal Flight auto taxi feature that Steve, the developer, is working on. That will be a deal breaker. Now, if he can get that right, then I will recommend everyone go buy it immediately. If he can get auto taxi, that would be fantastic. But obviously, that's a really tough feature to perfect, and it's something that he's working on. We'll have to see if we can get him on if he does get that right. Get him on the
Yeah,
podcast.
and something to think about with auto taxi, and it's good and all to have auto taxi. It'd be nice, very nice. Um, but hopefully, when that time comes, it will be prepared enough to where if a controller tells you you might be getting told to taxi, but then you're told to hold at such and such crossing, or runway or however they say it.
Yeah.
Um, will it be able to do that? I hope that it will because God forbid if it doesn't, and you cross over a runway in a plane.
Well,
a
yeah.
plane.
And I would be curious to see how he's going to do it because he's got to balance it, right? I mean, if there's no ATC, it's like how do you get to the runway? Because we don't know what the taxiways are. We need something really to calculate a route for us to get to the runway. But then if there is ATC, we also need to have enough manual control that we can do some of it ourselves. It's not just like an autopilot. It's got to be adjustable. So it's
I
tough. It's
had
a
a
really tough one.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And speaking of that, I had a controller. I think it was out of Phoenix, I believe, a while back, and we were just kind of talking back and forth privately through messaging. And he said, "Do you guys not have a way of knowing which runways are for incoming and which runways are for outgoing?" Because some airports, obviously you got runways that cross each other and all this, and some of them you have that are strictly, pilots automatically, they fly there a lot, so they know like runway 12, that's for out, for taking off, you, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, and such and such. I don't really think we have a way to detect that. Um,
No, we don't.
there's just no way, unless there was a way for it to be manipulated within the program. There's no way for us to know that. We're just not going to know that.
No.
And ATC, again, like this guy said, the good thing about ATC is they're not going to put you on a runway where you're going the wrong direction, anyways. But it was an interesting question, so I give him props for at least asking. But I don't even think technology can help out with that part of it right now. Because it can change. Maybe it changes next month or the week after. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't really have a. I mean, the best thing I would say is if you are on bad sim and there's some other traffic, follow what they're doing. Pretty much, just follow them. If you hear them say we're landing runway blah blah, then you can pretty much assume that they are, because what side of people tend to do, in my experience, is they go on Flight Radar 24 and they look at the aircraft landing in real life and they can see what runway they're landing on or taking off from on the graphical representation of the planes going on and landing. We can't do
Hmm.
that. So bets are if you follow a plane and land on the same runway as them, then you'll be right. So that's the best that we can say
Yeah,
now.
that was a tip that actually was given me before by a pilot. When I first started flying, I got out on the runway, and here I am. I'm on this runway, and the pilot's like, he's like, it's all good and everything, but I believe that you're taking off from where I'm getting ready to land. And like literally, guys, my wheels were just getting ready to come up off the runway when he said that, and I thought, Oh, this is going to be bad. So I had to hurry up and exit. But yeah, follow pilots. That's what I do. I'll
Yeah.
sit and wait. If there's traffic, I'll wait. I won't be the first one out there. I'll try to kind of follow the guide, you know?
Yeah, just wait 5, 10 minutes and get a bit of an experience as to where they're going, how many of them there are. We had a great experience the other day where we were me and a few friends were going out of Denver. Was it Denver? I believe. I can't remember. I think it was Denver. On VATSIM, and there was a whole virtual airline doing an event there, so we kind of gate crashed their event by mistake, but they were really
Oh
great.
no.
They allowed us to reposition. They were actually lined up but waited for all of us to get out first. You had some of them pulling over onto the de-icing pads to get out of our way.
Wow, that's
It was really
awesome.
funny. Really
And
great.
and you know, it's people are interested in seeing how we do things too.
Yeah.
I've had pilots when it wasn't even any event going on. There might be a couple pilots at an airport like Indianapolis uh, about 2 weeks ago. They just wanted to see me take off. The guy
Yeah.
messaged said, "Hey, I'm gonna move off to the side. Can I watch you take off? Here's the runway that I was at." And I was like, "Yeah,
Really. Yeah.
they're interested. So it's cool."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people always talk about the horror stories, oh, I was on VATSIM this one time and someone said I shouldn't be positioned to the runway. But you forget the 99 other great stories that you have. You just focus on that one negative. Don't let that put you off. There's one guy. What are they going to do?
Yeah,
What are they
yeah.
going to do?
It seems like that people always go off of that one negative feedback or story, and it's like, look at all the pluses, not the negative. Because I'll tell you right now, I've seen sighted people make just as many mistakes as we've made,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's
Yeah, we're not alone.
that's the truth. My pilot friend was telling me how uh, a friend of his was flying and he was coming in, and there was another pilot taking off, and this pilot completely forgot to put in his flaps, period, and kept talking about losing something. I forget how you pronounced it, but it's mistakes anybody can make. You don't got to be visually impaired or blind to make these mistakes. You can
Yeah.
make them sighted. So
So the next thing on the list was multi-crew. If you are subscribed to my channel, you'll see, and if you're on the WhatsApp groups and all the usual areas, you'll see there's been a lot of talk about multi-crew over the past couple of days. I decided to re-download it and try it out because it can get a bit overwhelming sometimes, especially on the network. And so having a co-pilot to do airspeeds, headings, set up the aircraft, flick switches is great. And so I've been playing with it, and there's a video up there that you can go watch if you want a demo of what it can do. In these freeware aircraft, I think it's very useful. It can be used with Tramp. And the even more exciting bit is, of course, it does have payware aircraft support. And I said this in this tutorial. I do believe that it would be advantageous for the community if things like TFM just focused on the FMCs in particular, and um, the switches and all these other kind of secondary things, switches, knobs, dials. In general, MCE can go through the flows. It can set altitudes and these basic things, but the FMC is where it's going to struggle. I can't sit here and dictate a whole flight plan route into an FMC through MCE. That's just not going to work. But I
right.
can say start up the APU. I can say blah blah blah, and it can do that. But I think TFM FMC support is what we need, coupled with MCE. And I know it's been said, look, we want to keep TFM free. Everyone needs to have access. We got to have a bit of a reality check here. I mean, how long is it going to take to do the PMDG 7.3? Then you got the 7.4. Then you got Quality Wings, Aerosoft, FS Labs, blah blah blah. It goes on and on. I think once the community have one payload aircraft, it's going to be a bit of a snowball effect. So we may as well just focus on the FMC and let MCE or this other software. There's other ones out there. There's a couple of them do the work on the switches.
Yeah, and you can tell MCE. You can even down to telling it to turn on the window heat, right? It will do that. You can tell it to turn on the seat belts. You can
Yeah.
tell it to turn on the no smoking. So if you want them cool little knobs and stuff that you can turn on and stuff, you can do that with MCE. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. And guys, we like to give you our view on it, but let's take and if you got a thought on it, email us. Our the new email is thebvipilotspodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, I was going to put
Okay,
that at the end, but we'll
so
keep saying it. It just add
yeah,
the
yeah.
onto it. The old email, we had a problem with it and lost access to it. Unfortunately, due to
Oh
PC
gosh,
changes and just some problems. So anyway, yeah, we just created a new one. So yeah, chuck your stuff there.
yeah.
And also, we had a lot of junk in the old one. These companies, spam companies, get hold of your email. So
Oh
never.
my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of company, let's real quick, Declan, if you don't mind, I just want to
Yeah,
throw
you
this
talk
out
about your
there.
other one.
Um, well, it's got to do with BVI. I just
Oh,
want to remind
BVI. Okay.
people that if you're flying with BVI, we are grateful for you being here with us. Um, but try to be responsible when you create a flight plan. Do that flight plan. Follow through with, you know, doing the flight. Um, the true fact of it is, if you cancel, it costs, and it can cost quite a bit too. Let's say that Declan schedules a flight, and then he loads a lot of packages, right? And then he cancels it a day
Yeah, those
later.
packages don't go anywhere.
And it's going to cost. It will cost the airline, and it will cost you. And I think it keeps us better organized if you're going to do a flight, make sure you can do it. Hey, even if you do the flight and you mess up and you got to do it over, don't cancel it. Just do it over. No
Yeah.
big deal, you know?
Yeah, and I think people forget. I mean, look, obviously it's a virtual airline. It's not a real business. It's not real life. But it is something that we run for the benefit of all BVI pilots. We've got a lot of BVI pilots involved, and I encourage everyone to get involved in our events. Don't be afraid of ATSM or anything like that. We have great events, as demonstrated by our successful Frankfurt to Lisbon last night. Um,
That was awesome.
that was very good. Yeah, we all landed. Yeah, we have unfortunately had to remove someone and kick a few people back down to training because, for various reasons. But at the end of the day, if the airline doesn't make money and, we don't maintain the reputation, that means we can't buy new planes. That means we can't do as many flights. That means we can't have as many pilots. And that then negatively impacts the community. So if you come on and crash our planes or mess things up continually, yes, you'll be removed. It's not necessarily anything personal, but we can't have you on there if you're doing that.
It's business, and even though Declan, like you said, it's not a real airline, but I can tell you that we still treat it like a real business because it's knowledge. You run something with the same kind of skill to try to make sure you keep everything up to quality is it's
Mhm.
quality, people, quantity and quality. Both of them are important. That you know. Just be smart about it. Honestly, I mean, if you need help, look, Declan's not going to scream at you if you message him and say, "Hey, I want to do the event, but I'm scared about landing with that many people, or I need more training." I can
Exactly.
guarantee you
Yeah.
that Declan or Marshall or me or somebody's going to say, "Hey, let's fly together then." We're here to help each other, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
I mean,
not this.
the amount of messages I get from people, and it's great, please do. But when you start getting, big-headed and saying, "Oh, I'm going to fly on Batsim, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z," I got to, blah, 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 and then you suddenly start messing things up. Maybe it's time to just reconsider, just ask for some help.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't crash planes and then go open up an airline. Okay,
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that that's
No,
that's bad.
let's not go there. We're going to have some whiny. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I mean, I'm just saying, be smart about things. And
yeah.
BVI, we treat each other good here. It's not, no nobody tried to be mean to nobody, but uh, just be smart about things. And then real quick, Declan, just to throw this out there about the other program here.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I don't have 100% training on this yet, but I can tell you that it does work and that it will fly your planes for you, almost 100%. Now, me, I like to be able to do stuff, so I really don't want something that's just going to do everything for me. But uh, if you're willing to spend a little bit of money, it's like $30, and you want to take me, I'm a risk taker, and so I'll buy things, I'll try them. If they work, great. If they don't, I'll gripe at myself for a day. Why did you buy it? But then the next day, it's whatever. It's done. It's over. Um, Check out Flight Simulator First Officer Pro. Now, if you want to get an idea of how that works, download the free one, which is Flight Simulator First Officer Lite. Now, there is a difference. There's a big difference because Pro will fly the PMDGs and some other ones. Lite, I don't think you'll be flying the PMDG with that. Um, I was messing with. I've not had enough time to play with it enough yet, but I can tell you that it set up everything like you were saying, Declan, about MCE, how it will flip all your switches and do everything for you. This did that on before I even started the jet. This thing, like it does a walk around. So when you open the door, when you first start the program, you start it while your jet's sitting at the gate or at the runway. I do it on the runway because of taxiing, or you can spawn whatever. But so the jet's off. As soon as you open the door, it'd be like 30 seconds. The co-pilot to come in, he'll flip some switches, do some stuff, and then he walks out and he actually does a walk around. Literally, we'll go out and it's like a 4 or 5 minute walk around. Like it literally checks this whole jet and does a full walk around, comes back in, and then it is started up. It does all of it. You just got to learn the settings and kind of where the layouts are, because some of the boxes, they don't say what they are. They're just like a number goes there, and but there's a really good video on it too. So if you guys want more on that, maybe me and Declan can do a video on the side or something, and me and him can mess with it and maybe help figure out some things as well. But I think it's a good program. So try it if you want, if you're up for spending $30. If not, then MCE costs too. So either way it goes, you're going to spend some money. And I've got both of them. But check it out. Check out the Flight Simulator First Officer Lite and Flight Simulator First Officer Pro. They got it for P3D and for FSX. They even got it for, not to give props to Microsoft 2020, because, well, I'll leave my opinion to myself about that simulator. Anyways,
it's still not
it's got
accessible.
it for
That's a
that.
fact. We'll put that in.
Yeah, we'll just put that. So, yeah, check it out though. It's I don't know. I don't know how you go about things, Declan, but me, I don't mind trying out new things, and even if it costs a little bit and for some reason it doesn't work out, I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, I could waste money on something else all day long anyway. So if I waste $20 on a program it doesn't work, at least I know, and I can tell somebody, hey, don't get that program because it doesn't work, right? Somebody emailed me about a month ago. They were going to buy Vox ATC. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, it's more of a pain in the butt than it's worth buying it and using it. They got a free thing you can download for 30 days. I don't like it. Now, if you want to try it, go ahead. I recommend doing the demo on that thing. I don't like it.
Yeah, Multicrew has a demo, I should add. A lot of these softwares do, so do check for demos if you can before buying.
Yeah. Could you do like that Vox or whatever, if I'm saying that right? Do you call it Vox ATC?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never tried it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
It gives you like a 7-day demo. But so does MCE. I think it gives you, it doesn't do it by the days, it does it by how many times you open it, I think, or something like that. I can't remember, but like you said, there's, check for demos, guys, and try out stuff. Don't be scared to try something. Don't sit there, and I've seen people do it. They'll say, well, that's not accessible, but yet they don't even know if it is or not.
I will say, with regards to things like 2020, please, and I don't know who listens to the podcast, I don't have a list, and I think the people who I'm speaking to here are probably far gone, and I'm never going to be able to reach them. I've seen a lot of things and heard a lot of things on not simulation mailing lists, but general blind mailing lists, blind gamer mailing lists, with people saying that 2020, should have accessible VFR flying, or that they're going to sue Microsoft for not making it accessible.
Oh my God.
Listen, buddy, and I'm speaking of one individual here, but anyone who might consider saying things, just say that out loud and think how stupid it sounds, and then yeah, just get back in the box, because I mean, come on, we're gonna sue them. How many billions do you have, really?
Let's look at the community
Yeah, let's be
within
sensible. Let's be a sensible community, please, because it just makes us
BVI
look like fools.
general. Yeah, it does. It does. And if you look at our community, yeah, we have a decent number of people, but we are very small. And they would laugh at us. They wouldn't even waste their best paid lawyer to take a look at it. They would bring in one of their engineers and say, "Will you handle these guys? They're being idiots." Like, come on, guys. A multi-billion-dollar company, and you're going to sue them? Don't
Yeah,
do that to our reputation, okay?
it's
Because
just
it does
idiocy.
impact us.
I
It,
know, I
it
know we're trying
really
to stick to
is.
facts, but I mean, here's a fact for you. You are not going to successfully sue Microsoft because they didn't make a sim accessible. Everyone is irritated at them, not least me. They made promises they didn't keep them. What are we going to do about
Right.
it? Best thing we can do is keep in contact with them, keep talking to them, keep nudging them, keep saying, hey, what's going on with accessibility? What can you do for us? Can you make the startups free and accessible? Can you make this, at the moment, accessibility is the least of Microsoft problems. The sim is great for eye candy. The planes, not so much. It is the least of their
No.
worries at the moment. It's not even that
One,
much of a great sim.
it's not. And once if I can get my pilot friend to be a little more motivated on getting his computer set up, because he really wants to come on and talk to you guys. He experienced flying with it, and he did like a 8 or 9 hour flight. Okay,
Oh
he
dear.
gets to he gets to Washington, and all of a sudden there's nothing. The airport vanished. I mean, like it just wiped off the map. Nowhere to land. It was just a complete mess.
Mm,
And let me say something. And George said this as well. Stop saying that Microsoft 2020 is a game and that's why it's got to be accessible. Microsoft 2020, FSX, P3D, they are not games. And it really aggravates me when I hear people say that. Listen, uh, P3D, they work with professional pilots. They work with
yeah, we're very
even
lucky P3D is
people.
accessible. Because if it wasn't, we couldn't claim anything. You can't go and say to Lockheed,
Right.
hey, make it accessible. They would laugh and say, no, look, this is a professional simulator. Go away. So we're very lucky that
These are
P3D is
all
accessible.
sims. Yeah, and they're all sims. They're for training. We do it as a hobby. It's not a game. So don't say, well, uh, they better be getting accessible, or I'm going to sue them because all games should be accessible. Blah blah blah. Fact is, you're wrong, buddy. You're wrong. So get that thought out of your mind, please. And it, you're making yourself look really silly, and you're making the community look really
I mean,
silly.
come on,
So
think
you can
about it.
have
Microsoft is a business. Like, we are
yeah.
a what, 20 community? I don't know the exact number, maybe more, but it's all about
Well, if
time
you
to investment
if you
and,
count
and
all
profit.
the
Yeah, if you
if you
count
count
all
all the spam signups, then we got thousands probably. But
I
you know,
wish.
uh, but when you got something negative like that, people look at that and they don't forget it, and then they use it to judge people that they shouldn't be judging. Like there'll be a negative thing, and then Declan will come along, be getting ready to do a flight at a certain airport, and they'll just completely ignore him because they think he's a complete goofy person because you did something stupid. Remember that. What you do falls on the entire community. We're
Exactly, yeah,
small.
because we're so small,
So
yeah.
there's another fact for you. So, real quick, I know we're already off that topic, but back to TFM real quick on the air brakes. What is the command for that, Declan? How can they activate that once they download the newest version
Oh,
when they
so
want to
you want
use
to
the air
go
brakes?
left bracket shift Y and you'll be presented with a dialog. You can type a value. So 0 is off, 1 is armed, which means armed means they're ready to go, but they're not extended. So ready for touchdown,
Right.
you want them to be armed because they will deploy when you touch down. And then for some reason, because the offsets are weird, you can then set any value to extend them between 7 and 100, I believe. So any value
Okay.
between that, for whatever reason, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, ignore. But from 7 to 100, you can set values. And then if you want to check where they are, it's a right bracket Y, which will tell you what position they're in.
Oh, okay. So you got left bracket Y and right bracket Y. Left to set it and right
Left
to
shift
check
Y.
it.
It's exactly the same as like altitude. So
Oh,
altitude
okay.
is
Left
left
shift
shift
Y.
A.
Okay.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, you guys can also even Google like that information. Like maybe you're flying. Let's say you're flying the 777 and you're curious about what setting the air brakes are usually on for a landing. I guarantee you can look it up and you'll find information on the percentage where a pilot would set that. Listen, it's important. Don't ignore it. It'll give you a better landing. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's definitely going to
I
help
mean,
you slow
Declan,
down. I mean, you want to be slow when you're
you,
getting that ILS. If you go whizzing through it, no chance.
yeah. And have you noticed the difference with when you land now, Declan? Now that
Well,
you
when
have
you
this
land, you
ability.
want air brakes. You want air brakes to be on armed. You want them to be on 1. Sorry, everybody and their dog is messaging me right now, and I have no idea why. So I was just checking. Yeah, so you want them to be on 1, which is armed, which means that when you touch down, they're going to pop up. The air brakes are basically extendable panels. And so when you touch down, if they're armed, they're going to pop up and disrupt airflow over the wing and cause you to slow down faster. But when you're
Yeah.
coming in, let's say you're at 200 knots and you think, hey, we're a little bit fast here. I need to slow down to maybe 180, 160 to be picking up this ILS. That's okay. So you put out maybe 20% air brake, and those panels are going to pop up a little and disrupt the airflow a little, and you'll slow down faster. So yeah.
And I'm sure you've used this new feature yourself, right?
Oh yeah, all the time I use it now. Yeah, it's very useful. You'll see me
Awesome.
on videos using it. And then the last thing we
Um,
had to talk about on here was just a little project that I'm not going to go into too much detail about because it's still something I'm working on with a company the company is on board. They are going to do it, but I'm not going to start giving names of companies and things because I know what some people are like and they're going to start emailing them and giving suggestions and giving their thoughts, and that's not what this is about. I'm just letting you know that it's happening. So the thing about the sim is a lot of these sims have very nice eye candy, of course, and that's one of the things we miss. We don't get to see the nice sunrises or sunsets or clouds or haze or blah 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 whatever. So what this add-on is going to do is be a sound add-on to replicate that in audio soundscape form. If anyone has ever used Weather Gods, for example, where you can boot up at a location on the app phone, and it will give you a soundscape as to what the area is looking like. That is what similar. It's not going to be the same. It won't be the same sounds. It might not be exactly the same concept, but it will be similar to that. That's the inspiration behind it, and it's a very reputable company. They've worked on payware aircraft. That's all I'm going to say. They've worked with payware developers for aircraft to provide them with sound packs and updates. So yeah,
that's
that's all I'm going to
amazing.
say.
Weather Gods. I've never heard of that. Is that's an iOS app? I'm guessing, or what?
Yes, I believe so. I'm not sure if it's on Android, but yeah, if you take a look at it, Weather Gods, it's got different sounds to replicate all the different weather effects, and it's very nice. to sit there
That
and
is
listen
so
to him.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me answer a question, by the way. I don't know how my email, maybe we gave it out once before in the past. Somebody was asking about, I don't remember, maybe we did talk about something, but I don't think it was never set stone. They said, basically wanting to know about the progress for Alexa with controlling planes. We never, when did we talk about that? Oh, we did talk about it, I think. Had said it'd be cool to have
It was
that.
a bit of a joke, yeah, about TFM. Well, it wasn't. I mean, the viability is there. I
Alexa,
believe
stop.
it could be done. Oh no! Don't say that. Everyone's. I tell you what, everyone's thing's just gone off now on the listen to the podcast. Um, that's
But yeah, it was just a great idea, you guys. It was never.
yeah. It is probably a viable idea, to be honest. I think it could be done if someone invested in it, but yeah, I don't believe it's actually going to go anywhere with TFM, indeed, or anything else. So as cool as it would be, yeah, it's not coming anytime soon.
And if you could please, I don't mind that you emailed me at my other address. I don't know how it got out there, but it did. Please don't use that email address for this stuff because you might have a question that I can't answer, and maybe Declan can. And secondly, I don't want all that in my personal mailbox and have to deal with, trying to filter all that stuff out. So email us to the right email address, please. It would make things a lot better for all of us. Uh, so yeah, I don't know how they got my email address. Like I'm like, where did they? I, I I don't ever remember sharing my personal email on the podcast, but maybe maybe we did. Maybe it was a one time
Mm,
thing. I don't know. I don't know. But y'all stay out of my email box. Email the
who
podcast,
knows?
not me.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, it's just one of them things where uh if you want to try out this new feature, maybe you don't think you need it. Fine, don't use it. But I'm telling you, your flying's going to be better when you
Mm.
get back to the whole air brake thing. So, and the sound thing, I like that too, Declan. I think that's amazing. I think it's a good idea that you know, uh, guys don't take it to advance and be like, oh, he don't want to share this or that. You gotta understand why.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
think
if
about
people
that.
ask me privately, I will probably tell them. If I trust in them. I don't want to tell the whole community on a podcast though. That would be very unfair to this company who've agreed to work with me on this. Because I know what's going to happen. The whole community, well, some
And
in
if
the
they
community are going to spam them
if they
and
get
get on their
spammed, they're
back.
gonna drop out. They might say, look, man, we can't do this. We're getting too much email.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You
this
know.
is this is what happens with the community. When I've seen what some people can do, uh, we have to be careful, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry, but some people's behavior means I'm not going to just come out here and say that. And also, if for whatever reason it didn't work out, then I don't want to uh, you know cause problems for that company. So hopefully it's going to happen, and I will keep you updated when we have something to test or whatever. Then definitely I will let you all know. Um, I will say there's some developers who I contacted about this who did disappoint me with their responses. Some quite renowned sound developers who claimed that this wasn't something they'll be able to do. I'm not quite sure why, so I was disappointed by them. But this one company that got back to me was very very responsive and really excited actually to be doing the project. So I went with I'd emailed about 4 or 5 to see which one I would choose, and then this company was without a doubt the one I chose because they were really excited to be working with me on this. So that was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's really cool when you get these companies that are willing to kind of go on that adventure with us, and explore what's possible. 'Cause if you don't try it, then you'll never know if it'll work or if it won't work. So
Hmm.
I think it's awesome what they're doing, and I think that when the right time comes, if things go well, everybody will respect the fact that the way it was done and the way that it was kept anonymous is for the best. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think that's going to do it. Unless you got anything else, I think we covered all of it.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think that this would be a good podcast. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it. And again, if you guys are looking for information, maybe we've not covered something, or maybe we did, and you just can't find it. Whatever the case might be, email us. Listen, we can't answer your questions unless you email us. Well, I don't want to hear, well, they're not answering, but this or that. Well, we can't answer unless we know what the questions are. Or maybe you're a company that's wanting to do maybe an interview or something, whatever the case might be. Email us, the bvipilots podcast at gmail.com.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So yeah, have a good rest of your week, and we will be back maybe in 2 weeks. We'll have to see what's going on, but look out for
Maybe
2 weeks.
3.
Yeah, who knows?
Could be 4. No, I'm just kidding, guys. We were just busy, that's all. So,
Yes.
yeah, you guys have a good day.
And bye bye. And with that, another BVI Pilots podcast has landed.